F1 is hot right now. Super hot fire even. But some parts of the game don't seem too well polished. Especially one feature needs to be dusted off a major bit. The F2 cars.
And with that, welcome back to Overtake. For the past few years, F2 has been a part of the F1 games. Starting back at F1 2019, the inclusion of F2 was introduced. And, very much to the delight of the then developer Codemasters, the feature was very well received upon announcement.
And why not? These cars are supposed to have crispier racing due to their lack of downforce. And since their performance is equal at all teams, in theory, it should make for closer battles. Sounds like a fun way to get some variety in your F1 22 gameplay, right? Wrong. If you're completely honest with yourself, how much have you heard about F2 racing in the F1 franchise ever since F1 2019? Maybe you read the footnote to the game, but other than that, nobody really cares. You know who does care about you? We from Overtake do. That's why you should be giving this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell so you are well informed whenever something F1 or F2 related for that matter drops on this channel. If you look around the YouTube vids and forums of the world, the occasional ode to F2 comes up. But aside from very sporadic appearances, the feature is almost entirely absent from the eye of the casual F1 22 player.
This is so odd, especially because F2 should be the entry point for so many aspiring F1 racers. By definition, these cars should be the last step forward towards the big brother in F1. So the question naturally asks itself, why are F2 cars even less played than Automobilista 2?
If we search for reasons as to why F2 racing is not played at all, maybe we have to state the obvious first. F2 is not the name of the game, and if it was, sales would be significantly less than they are now. What we as sim racers sometimes forget is that many casuals still buy the F1 games every year to race as their favorite driver. And for most, their favorite driver does not sit in a Prema.
Simply put, F2 is nowhere near as popular as F1 in real life. So that naturally shows in-game as well. But that shouldn't even be the focus in my eyes.
Everybody who wants to learn the game or the tracks should be directed towards F2 in the menu, at least to get started. This way I feel like you could improve the overall level of play while still getting a system up and running that is almost built for it. But yet again, if you look through the menus, there is barely any mention of this at all. As I've just said, F2 is of course not the main reason why people buy the product. But if that was the deciding factor for visibility, then why oh why are there supercars in nearly every screen? Nobody asked for them, and they sure as hell aren't the reason people bought F1 this year. Furthermore, I feel like the development of supercars is because of the same reason as for F2 racing in the game. It is used to add some variety to an otherwise one-dimensional game. It's just the reasoning why F1 22 went for supercars instead of improved F2 that is completely beyond me.
If you know where to search, it is of course obvious where you can drive the F2 cars. But it feels like newer players are actively discouraged from driving them. So a lack of visual representation paired with a lower popularity could very well be the reason we don't see a bunch of F2 content at all.
One very crucial thing we have to look at is the quality of the F2 feature. I mean, as much as I complain, it ought to be good, right? Wrong again.
To be completely honest, F2 cars and their gameplay feel absolutely terrible at current times. The big difference you should be getting from driving these beginner cars does exist, but to the worse. Instead of better racing, you get to drive a boat on wheels.
The cars feel heavy and weirdly slow. Even though the straight line speed is comparable to those of the F1 cars, you never ever even get close to actually feeling as fast as them. Getting through hectic passages like in Jeddah can either feel like a death trap or like it takes forever. It is actually impressive how much better F1 cars feel compared to them. And at the same time you ask yourself how that is even possible.
And in case you think this has only been a recent problem, it really isn't. For years now, F2 cars have largely felt the same, leaving me to wonder why they actually always need more time to get everything F2 related into the actual F1 game. Last year, for example, it took a whopping 6 months to get the F2 roster into F1 2021. For an annual game, That makes no sense at all.
It really leaves you with a question why F2 was included in the first place. All the best ideas in the world are useless if you don't care for the features. And this year, they did it again. At release, they included the F2 roster of 2021 and will patch the new one in later. But with the inclusion of the new F2 roster coming up, it also opens up the door for a whole heap of opportunities to make stuff better than it is right now.
Whenever the new F2 roster drops this year, the developer has the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really turn the tides on this feature. And I will tell you exactly how to do it. And don't worry, I won't tell anyone if you end up running this EA.
Step 1. You rework the way these driving lawnmowers handle. Make them fun and beginner friendly, not stiff as a board. Step 2. You bring back some classic cars or liveries from F1. Boom, you just put them into the game. May seem unrelated, but wait. Step 3. You make at least some of them unlockable by winning races in F2 cars or mastering certain challenges with them. This way, racing F2 will surely be more popular. Step 4. Make the F2 cars part of the tutorial. Let them truly be an introductory step for new players and not just a side dish. Step 5. Release them in time next year, so people are not ready to give up on the game entirely whenever you decide to push these things out. And that's it. If you follow these 5 easy steps, you are more than guaranteed to see the number of F2 players rise massively.
Going forward, we will come to an inevitable crossroads, I feel like. Either F1 makes a giant step forward out of mediocrity, or we will see the same half-baked stuff for a year or two before they ditch the feature entirely. Which would be a shame in my eyes. I feel F2 should be fun for everyone, especially newer drivers. But we will have to wait and see if anything actually ever changes, or if F2 is just doomed to die. I know you guys aren't doomed to watch bad content. So if you want to stay entertained, be sure to click on some other videos on this channel, especially the most recent F1 videos we did. They're really good. That's it from my side. And until next time, cheerio.